Oftentimes, being a woman in business, you're overshadowed, you're overlooked. It's hard not to take it personal. A lot of people be like, oh, shake it off, dust yourself off. You're kind of realizing that those negative thoughts in your head aren't your own. That it's because someone told you this, like somebody else's thoughts.
You said what?
No, that part. Manifesting.
I like the yet. Yeah. By the way, I do have to say that I wore pink specifically for this. I thought you would like pink. I don't know. Am I being messy?
I'm more of like a sunset type of girl. So anything that's in like the sunset color realm,
okay, but not pink.
I like
not salmon pink or no.
I like it on men. I feel like it looks really nice on men.
Okay.
Like black boys, I feel like that's like kind of like black boy joy.
Okay.
You know?
Because sometimes I wear like pink and then I'll like
are you trying to like
accent a green.
throw a stray? Oh, are you trying to throw a stray?
No.
It's okay because I'm not catching it. I'm gonna duck and dodge it. It's fine.
I've been watching baddies. So,
that
you know?
men watching baddies. Men are who gonna be the boys?
Somebody
who
put
gonna
me
be
on
the
the
boys?
baddies. I don't know. I'm Natalie right now, so I feel like I'm doing a good job. Right? I'm doing pretty good, right?
Wow.
Okay.
Who's going to be the boys? That's insane.
Okay.
You're funny.
We are with the founder of Movement Street, founder and executive director, Alpha chapter of DST at Howard University, about to get her MBA as well. Overall queen. Oh, she speaks 3 languages? 3 languages, trilingual. Has been all over the world at this point, honestly. A lyric, Amodia. Yeah, round of applause, maybe. Hey, yeah. We'll put like a round of applause.
Where do I look at? Do I look at you? Do you want to look at this camera?
No, you look at me.
I can look at you? Okay.
But like you can look at the camera if you want to. Yeah,
okay, great,
you can do whatever you want. Yeah.
Hey!
Okay.
Thank you for that great interjection.
Of course. That's the first one I try to like memorize. Usually I write them all down, but I thought I did all right. We're good with the hair.
I just moved my hair. Sorry.
Okay, no, you're good. So currently, like you said, you're about to graduate. Your MBA. Yeah. How has that been? How has like the post-grad scene been since leaving Howard?
Oh my goodness. I feel like no amount of preparation can help you with the post-grad transition. I had heard from, when I was still in undergrad, I heard from my mentors a lot about like post-grad depression, the post-grad, struggles and transitioning into, the workforce and just like full-fledged adult living. And as much advice as they gave me and as much preparation as I tried to do and I did do, I don't think any amount of that kind of prepares you for actually experiencing it, because you're kind of going from being around your community 24/7 to that not being the case anymore. And like as someone who thrives on community, like not having my day ones around me all the time because opportunities have taken us elsewhere. That was like a kind of an adjustment to make, but also to, I would also say just transitioning from an HBCU to going to a PWI for grad school. I think Howard literally gave me the most solid foundation and prepared me for anything that came my way, like post-grad, especially like with going into graduate school. I think there was like a big disconnect with like my classmates when I first went to like grad school, just based off of just backgrounds and working styles. Granted, that's like in a lot of cases you'll always have different communication and working styles, but this one was like really drastic. Like it was like a cultural divide, an age gap as well. I'm actually like the youngest person in my cohort. So I'm 23 right now. I'll be 24 next month, and the second youngest person in my cohort is 30 years old. Okay. So I think between just cultural differences and the age thing was like a big transition. I would also say not a lot of people care about you once you're not a student anymore. Like once you are working, you're not going to get the sympathy from people like, oh my gosh, you're a college student, let me help you out. Oh, you just started a new job. Well, okay, well, you're an adult now. You have your benefits. Do you have insurance? Like it's really no leeway. There's no buffer space in between because now you're just kind of you're thrusted out into the world and you kind of have to make do. I feel like I did have a lot of preparation and I definitely had the tools to succeed, and that's why I'm really grateful for my transition. But even now, like the social climate, not social climate, but like just the climate in the world right now. You know, it's hard to get a job anywhere.
Of course.
And just, you know, rent is really expensive right now. Like, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. I also want to say you made me feel a little bit old because I'm older than you, and I didn't do extra like grad school, so
It's okay.
thank you for that. I appreciate that. I'm trying my best.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so born in Japan, and then I want to say you went from Japan to Germany, right?
I actually went from Japan
Okay.
to Korea to
Korea.
Flint to Germany.
Japan to Korea to Flint.
Back to Germany.
To Germany.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, and this is all early life.
Yeah,
right?
this was so I did all that by the time I was 3. So I was in Germany by the time I was 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you say that there was
3 or
any
4.
influence in like you being that young, making all those changes? Were you really kind of, you know, at an age where, I mean, I guess you're so young that it's really not influencing you that much, or do you feel like there was some influence?
I feel like there was an influence. Like, my mom always told me, like, I was a really good traveling baby. Like, I never really had tantrums, like, growing up. I never was a picky eater as a child. Like, and I think that's because my mom just exposed me to a lot of different things, and because we kept moving so much. So, like, you know, just from the time I wasn't shy of going around people. I wasn't scared of other people. You know how a lot of people are kind of attached to their mom or dad. I wasn't scared to go up to, you know, be around other people. I wasn't scared to try new meals. I wasn't scared to try new things. Like, let's just say I'm trying new things on the monkey bars. That didn't scare me. I wanted to pursue it like full force.
Okay.
Just like things that my mom pointed out to me as a child. Like, she was like, yeah, you didn't really throw tantrums. You didn't cry on a plane. Like, I was just very, like, calm, and I was very ambitious from a very young age, and I think that I credit a lot of that to how I was raised.
Okay. Now, I know you went to high school in Arizona.
Yeah.
What age did you move from Germany to Arizona?
13.
13.
Yeah, 13.
Okay, so from 4 to 12, 13, you're in Germany. What was that early life like for you?
Oh my God, it's so magical. Like, I actually was talking to my friends about this because sometimes I kind of forget, like, and that's something I never want to forget. It's like how I grew up. And I'm telling my friends who are really into just European culture, and I was telling them about the cities that I grew up in Germany. And I'm actually, I'm from Hedenleidelheim, which is like central Germany. And it's like a subdivision of Hanau, which is where Brothers Grimm are from. Okay. So the fairy tale stories, like, I lived in a very much a fairy tale village. Like, I was showing them pictures of my school, and they were like, this is some Hansel and Gretel like type stuff. Like, and I was like, no, literally, like, it was very whimsical. It was magical. It was like, we had festivals like every week. Like, there was something we were celebrating every week, and like the kids where, because I grew up in an all German school. Like, me and my mom were the only 2 Black people in our entire village, and my village loved us unconditionally. Like, I had everybody take part in my upbringing. Like, my mom would make fun of me because she was just like, Lyric, every time we leave the house, the firefighters are coming to say hi to you. The cooks are coming out of their restaurants to say hi to you. Like, someone was always willing to take me in, and like, even I would spend like after schools at restaurants, after schools at programs, at the libraries, at churches. Like, I was just kind of everywhere, anywhere, all at once. Okay. And I felt like growing up in Germany, like, it was literally, I feel like now that I know what a Montessori school is, it was kind of similar to that. We really had to learn how to do things with our hands, because in Germany, you actually only go to school until the 10th grade. Okay. So from the 5th grade, like, once you finish 5th grade, you have to apply into a different school that's kind of according to your trade category, because like from 5th grade to 10th grade, they are simply molding you for what you've kind of tested into. Okay. It's kind of like a better version of Divergent. Okay. So like of the movie Divergent. Yeah, gotcha. So a lot of people are like, oh my God, like, isn't that like really tough on kids, because now if they tested in as like a welder, now they have to stay a welder? No. You have free will. Like, the kids can change, but you're being tested up until the 5th grade to see where you're going to go towards in life. And then they'll train you up until you leave the high school, the 10th grade, in that specific category. And then you go to university. Okay. So, like, I worked a lot with my hands. Like, I had to show that I could go to the next grade, I had to spend 2 weeks out in the woods with my class. Okay. You have to show survival skills. You have to show agriculture skills. You have to show, what is it called? Not MapQuest, geographic skills.
Okay.
Like you have to be able to navigate that and know a lot of history in Germany, which is more centered on like castles and kingdoms and like where stories come from in Germany, which I really loved.
Okay.
I think our social welfare there is really great. Like I had a woman as governor and I had a woman as mayor growing up, so that was something that I was exposed to. And like, yes, kids are mean growing up when they don't know color.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of adults that stuck up for me a lot of times, and my mom and my dad were really big and like telling me like not whose I am, but who like not telling me what's the saying. I know whose I am, like who I am.
Okay.
So that I think that was also like a really great part of like growing up there. It's just like I was just exposed to so much. I went to school with Turkish people, Jewish people, Russians, like everyone. And we were just all the best of friends, and we still keep up to this day.
Okay. Okay. Now, so again, like you said, Japan, Korea, Flint, Germany. What was the focal language growing up during that time for you?
English and German.
English and German.
Yeah, I spoke
Okay.
German like majority of my day. I only spoke English when I came home.
Okay.
And like when I came home, my mom is the reason I know how to read and write in English, and she taught me a lot at home. She was like my teacher.
Okay. And you said you're trilingual now. So what is the third language you?
Yeah, so
added?
I'm half Filipina, and my
Yes.
dad speaks Bisaya, which is a dialect in the Philippines.
Okay.
So that's also like why I've been able to kind of jump around in between like Spanish and Bisaya, which has been really helpful. And I was actually a French foreign exchange student when I was in the 5th grade too.
Okay. Okay. So you've been everywhere. Okay. So, in talking to your mom, she had explicitly stated how difficult that transition was from Germany, where it seems like, I mean, you're getting all different flavors in terms of diversity, to Arizona and just the United States in general, where that the diversity is not seen as much. And I want to make an assumption that Williams Field was majority white.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was all white school.
Okay,
Oh my
okay,
gosh,
okay.
yes.
So what was that? What was the difficulty of that transition like?
That was, like, mind you, I've grown up in predominantly white spaces, like being in
Okay.
Germany, but even Germany was more diverse than going to school in Arizona. That was the most white conservative space I have been to this day. Like, and actually, like, my experience there really, like, I feel like I kind of lost myself in the sauce. Because those developmental years when you're in high school, you know, you want so hard to find belonging and to fit in. And as someone who was like growing up in Europe with my best friends, we used to like watch things like High School Musical, watch American shows, and
Yeah.
we thought like, oh my God, like they're getting this experience. It seems so far away. Like
Yeah.
things we were seeing on TV were like, this is how kids in the States are living. So when I came to the States, I was kind of basing it off of television.
Okay.
And
okay.
I didn't really know how to communicate what I was feeling or what my expectations were at the time. So I was just trying so hard to like make the idea of what I thought it was supposed to be instead of like realizing the reality of things.
Okay.
In high school, and that's when I kind of like lost the essence of that my diversity and my cultural upbringing was really one of the best things about me, because I was trying to like diminish all of that and remove it to like fit into this mold that Arizona or like my high school had put me into. Like I was often told I was too ambitious, too loud, too black. It was, and I remember one time I had ranked like top of my class, and you had to apply to give a speech for graduation, and I got denied for giving a speech because they said my opinions were too radical, and it was literally a Nelson Mandela quote.
Okay.
And now I kind of see where like when I went to Howard, that was welcomed. Like all the things that I thought were kind of bad about me when I moved to the States were really nourished, and it was supported, it was uplifted. And then like kind of having a full circle moment where like I got to speak at my Howard graduation.
Yeah.
It really showed me like, it really just showed me the beauty of life and learning and growing as a woman and as a leader and like to finding your voice. So.
Okay. And did you directly deal with any racial things while in Arizona?
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
so many hate crimes.
Okay.
I had so many hate crimes. Y'all, I could literally talk about this for like 5 minutes.
Hey,
No,
look.
literally 5 minutes. I had so many hate crimes. Okay, y'all, we're gonna really get into it. There was this group of white girls that did not like me at all. And it's because I stopped being friends with them. I stopped being kind of a follower. Like, I was really like that token black friend. Well, actually, it was like me and another girl that were like the token black friends. But I was always told, like, you need to be more of a silent black girl, not a ambitious black girl.
Okay.
Like, I was my blackness was too much for their mold to be in their friend group. And it was a summer, I actually went to visit my friends that we grew up together in Germany. And they kind of saw what I had became, and they were like, what happened to you? And it kind of made me realize, I was like, I've had friends before. I've had real family before. Like, why is this is not my love that I'm used to experiencing. And my mom would tell me this all the time. My mom was like, why are you trying to be white so bad? Like, what is it? And you know, at that time, you're not listening to your moms. You're like, I was like, girl, you don't know anything about high school.
Yeah.
Like, you're not living in my shoes. You don't know how hard it is. Because my mom, like, my parents grew up together. They're high school sweethearts. So, like, they grew up together in Flint. And I was like, Mom, you don't know. This high school game is completely different than what you're used to. And when I stopped being friends with them, they were literally egging my house. They started egging my house. And my mom was like, Lyric, you have a future. Don't, like, my mom would know. She was like, these girls they're trying to fuck with you. Like, oh, sorry.
No, you're good. No,
can I guys?
Fuck all of it. Yeah, we're
they're
good.
Like, Lyric, they're trying to fuck with you. And I was like, okay. She was like, calm. Like, remain level-headed. And I was like, okay. She was like, focus. You're going to go to college. And I was like, all right. Then because I wasn't a Section 8 black person, because I came from a really good family, I had a nice car. I drove my drop top to school every day. They started keying my car. They started keying my car at school, and they started calling the police on my car. Literally because, when I was a sophomore in high school, I fell down a mountain and I became handicapped. So I had a handicap sticker, and they would literally call the police to tell them to tow my car, because I had like a special parking spot in front of the school where I never had to like walk too far. They hated me for that, so they started keying my car, calling the police in my car. And then the teachers didn't like how much of a, like, I had this one, I'm gonna name drop her, because I hope you see this. I hope this motherfucker sees this. One day.
I hope you see this.
I hope you see this. Her name is Miss Zellner.
Miss
She
Zellner.
was low-key, I'm pretty sure she was fucking the football players.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Got it.
You can quote me on that one too.
Dirty. Got it.
So she was friends, like, she would be instigating fights and like enabling these white girl mean behaviors. Like, she was like a bigger version of these white mean girls.
Okay.
And
Teacher. This is a teacher?
This was a teacher.
Okay.
She happened to be my science teacher at one point in time. I was in marketing. I was like an advanced marketing student where I had worked in my school store for class credit. And I used to design t-shirts for my school. I used to just work in the school store all day. And that was like a 2-hour class that I got credit for. And I actually had worked with the principal at the time to host like a market day where like all like kids in marketing class could come up with business ideas, and then we would sell it to the whole school. So it'd be like a whole day just selling things during lunch. So me and my principal at the time, Mr. Bull, we had, I'm pretty sure that was his name. If it wasn't your name, I'm sorry. I've had a lot of principals. And he had pulled me during homeroom, like during the time I had marketing class. And he was like, let's talk about this idea so we can figure out the logistics. Then I got sent back to class. It was second period. I get to my AP history class, and the security guards come and pick me up out of class, and they literally pick me up without saying anything. Like, you know how the security guards are going into your classroom with the microphone and be like, come here?
Yeah.
So then everybody's like looking at me, and they drive me into the golf cart, and I'm like, why am I getting pulled up to the front office? They don't say nothing to me. They pull me into the nurse's office. Then they asked me to breathe into a breathalyzer. And I didn't know what a breathalyzer was at the time. So they were like, blow into this, you're having a wellness check. And I was like, oh, like, I want y'all to know too at this time, like, I didn't know what a wellness check was. I didn't know what a breathalyzer was. Like, when I was living in Germany, like, people looking out for me was like a safe thing. Like, I never had to question adults in my life because they were always looking out for me.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, he's probably just looking out. Maybe like, you know how in school you do like you go into the nurse's office and they need to update your records.
Yeah.
So I was thinking it was something like that. So they had pulled a breathalyzer on me. Then they made me sit. They checked my eyes, and they made me do something else, and I couldn't remember. And I kept asking, like, what am I in here for? What am I in here for? And they kept telling me a wellness check. Mm-hmm. Then my principal finally came in here and was like, why is she sitting in here? Why is she getting a wellness check? And I was like, no, I want to call my mom. I'm not leaving here until I call my mom. And I called my mom. I told her what happened. The principal proceeded to tell my mom, like, she was with me in first period, so I don't know why they called her up into the office. My mom flew up there, and she was like, the next time y'all touch my daughter without my consent, everybody leaving here in a body bag. And that's not a promise. It's not a threat. It's a promise. And they ended up telling me that the mean white girls, told the Miss Zellner that I was high in class, and Zellner, who wasn't even my teacher at the time, put in that I was high in school, and they pulled me out for a wellness check with the police officers to get me in trouble. Literally, like, just lying, just making up stuff, like.
And these used to be your friends?
These used to be my friends.
Okay.
And I ended up, like, my entire, like, junior and senior year, I was fighting. I got suspended, like, once every 2 weeks. At this point, my mom had a deal with my principal that every time I got in trouble, like, I just drove myself home. He'd be like, Lyric, I got to send you home for 2 days now. Drive yourself home. I just got off the phone with your mom. And, like, I at some point, like, I could not control how I was feeling. Yeah. I was like, no, these are coming out, and like I was angry. Yeah. And it just ended up being put into pause on hoes. Okay. I just ended up fighting a lot. But my principal always kept my record clean. So shout out to you, because that's how I got to college. Okay. So I was getting to the principal. At some point after that moment, I was like, I cannot remain calm, Mom. And my mom was like, you need to, like, my mom was like, and them girls try you again. She's always told me to defend myself. Actually, the males in my family, my dad and my brother, they're mixed martial artists. And I actually, from the time I was 3, I've been a mixed martial artist until I was 14, and I actually hold 2 European championship titles. And I never use that as the cause to fight at all. I always use it as a cause to defend myself. And at some point, like, it turned into rage. And then after that, it kind of took on a life form of its own. But since I started, after I calmed down and I stopped fighting, because I was like, if you fuck with me, you get in these hands, there's no questions asked. Like, you fuck around and find out. After fucking around and finding out happened, then it was just like, okay, then the hate crime stopped. But y'all, it was literally hate crimes. Okay. But yes.
You like baddies?
No, I actually don't want, yeah. Okay, all right. Not at all. Okay. No.
When she finds y'all, whoever y'all girls,
trust, you will be dealt with. Oh my. That was what it is. That was what it was. Okay,
so after we get out of that, hell, it sounds like.
Yeah, it was really bad.
What was did that whole experience have any influence to you wanting to go to Howard? Because I heard that you only applied to Howard. Like, that was it.
Yeah. Okay. My mom, she wanted me to apply to Stanford, some other Ivy League schools. I don't know. I've always been very faith driven, and I accredit everything that I am to God. It wasn't. I applied to Howard, and no. There was one other black girl. She was older than me, and we had talked because we were on the dance team together. Okay. And she had told me that she was going to FAMU, and I was like, "What's FAMU?" And then she told me about HBCUs. So then I went back home and I was like, Mom, why you didn't tell me about HBCUs? And she was like, I did. You're just not listening. Yeah. So then I kind of did some more research about Howard, and I kind of was trying to figure out where I wanted to live growing up. I was like, well, I kind of want to live in the city. I want to see what it's like being a city girl. I want somewhere that has a lot of opportunities, like Washington, D.C. I was like, that sounds amazing. And I had known about D.C. because my parents, they come here for work a lot. Okay. So my parents decided that one summer when they had to work here, they took me here for a tour. And we got out of the car, we were standing in front of the bookstore, and I just cried. Like, I just felt the presence of God pulling me to this university. And I told my parents, I was like, I'm supposed to go here. I feel it in my bones. I think God is ordering my steps to go here. And they said, we will do everything to support you to make your dream happen. And honestly, like, once Howard was kind of like my little North Star, because once I knew I had an out from high school, and I knew that there was better coming, and I knew that there was a place that could cultivate my gifts instead of trying to make me repress it, I was like, I want to go here so bad. And like, I looked up the best of the best. I knew I wanted to be poli-sci because my parents, like I worked around, I mean, I lived internationally my whole life. I was interested in government and politics at the time. And I was like, oh, I want to be poli-sci. Why not learn that in DC? And why not learn it at the best HBCU? And that's why I ended up getting to Howard.
Okay. Now, she said that she also wanted you to help find your identity more in terms of like, I guess in this case, your Blackness and just your culture. Did you have any worry that you might disregard the other half of your culture, which is like being Filipina at all while going to Howard University?
That's a really great question. I feel like I never forgot I was Filipina, like, or it's always been something, I think because I've always just been really close with my dad and my dad's side of the family, like my Lola, that made me feel very connected to it. And I feel like, in a sense, it was kind of easier to be connected to being Filipina than it was being Black.
Okay.
I feel like being Black is much more complex. And I also, too, I think my mom, because of like me being raised by a Black woman, and I am a Black child, like no matter what space I stepped into, they're not gonna see Filipina first, they're gonna see my Blackness first. And I think that's why she was really adamant with me trying to find my identity and finding myself, especially like going to a college that could help with that. And I feel like with me even being an African studies minor, I learned more about the Philippines. Like I learned more about being biracial and like, you know, like there's so many different other aspects to being Black. Like there's so many different fonts in it.
Yeah, of course.
And I feel like it kind of helped me appreciate my dad's culture, my culture, like being Filipina a lot more. And we also go to the Philippines like every 2 years as well. And I'm very connected with that side. And I feel like learning more about my Black experience kind of helped me ask my dad more questions about what it's like being Filipino.
Okay.
And that was something I was really grateful for.
Okay. Now, on the opposite side, coming to Howard, being, again, half Black, half Filipina, did you have any uncomfortable feelings in terms of being accepted in a fully Black environment with people that might view you because you're lighter skinned as not fully Black? Was that a worry for you at all?
I remember when I first got to Howard, I felt like maybe like 2 people kind of like looked at me that I can remember, but it was just so minuscule that like it was just like a really minute moment in my life. Where they're just kind of like, like, what are you? Like, that's when I first kind of heard the terms Blasian, and I hated it.
Okay.
I was like, what? They were like, oh, you're Blasian? Like, what kind of Asian are you? I said, huh? Like, and then I'm like, why are we having such a narrow scope of thinking? And we're categorizing it. And I realized that like a lot of biracial people don't have Black moms, and that they take being mixed as a personality trait, and they're the ones that coined this term for themselves.
Yeah.
So in sense, everybody else wants to call anybody mixed race, like that they see have a little bit of like different traits. Oh, Blasian, or I don't know what they call like Black Latinas, but whatever. Like, like those terms, and I'm like, that's not what I am. Like, I'm not about to deduce myself to just like one term that you, because it works in your mind. Like that's how you understand it. It's not. And like when I got to Howard, people were quick to be like, oh, I'm Ghanaian. Oh, I'm Jamaican. Oh, I'm Haitian. Oh, I'm Dominican Republican. But I'm like, when I say, oh, I'm not Asian, like I'm Filipina, like now it's a problem. And that's when I was like really understanding like we need to, as a community, broaden our scope on how we're seeing race. And why I'll correct anybody anytime that is trying to like deduce me down into a category that makes sense to them. Like, no, like that's why we need to often correct people. We need to be like, no, I'm actually like, if you actually know anything about the Philippines, they're more Pacific Islanders. Like I'm from an island called Negros Oriental, where we're actually cultivated from sub-Saharan Africans. And I'm proud of that. Like, just because you didn't take the time to learn it, I'm going to teach it to you. Or I will point you to the reference on Google where you can read it.
Okay. Now, so you go in freshman year, that is fall of 2020, right?
No, I started fall 2019.
Fall 2019.
Yeah.
Okay, fall 2019 because you're 23.
Yeah.
You're 23
Yeah.
graduate. Okay, so you go through basically your freshman year. You're on campus,
Yeah.
and then COVID hits.
Yeah, my sophomore year.
What was that whole transition like, and how did that kind of like put a dent in the experience of Howard?
Oh, it was like, you know how someone gives you like the best gift ever in the world and then it gets taken from you?
Yeah.
It was like that.
Okay.
It's like you were given an entire playground and then it just gets snatched from you like in a blink of an eye. And you're just like, what? Like, how could this happen? And you're having like a woe it's me type of moment. I ended up moving back to DC my sophomore year still while we were like at home during COVID, and I lived in DC. And there was a lot of other people that moved back too. And I feel like for the experience, like what was given to us, the cards we were dealt, I feel like I made the most out of it.
Okay.
Like granted, I wish COVID never happened, but if it did, I think I had the most perfect experience ever. We had so much fun here. I learned so much. Like, it was almost like camp.
Okay.
Like camp being in DC with the people, but not being on campus. But I think it honestly made me closer and understand people at Howard a lot better.
Okay.
Because we had so much time to really get to know each other.
Yeah.
And like, if you're watching this and you were a part of our COVID UTC era, man, shout out to you. We know we went up. We had a ball.
Okay.
And I feel like that's what kind of made me love my community more, even when times look uncertain. Because during that time, that's when I founded the Movement Street officially. Yes. And that I credit a lot of it to like being in DC at that time and being around my classmates.
Okay. Now, I know that it's funny because COVID was tragic, obviously, but like there were a lot of people, including myself, that like I think COVID for me was one of the best things that ever happened. And I think it's one of those things where, again, a lot of people died, a lot of people were really sick, a lot of families were affected, businesses, et cetera, but also a lot of people had time to like really sit and think and create and think past just like, you know, you're in school, it's just go, and all these distractions. Do you think that it benefited you in that way? And how did the Movement Street come out of that?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. As someone who grew up with slow living, like coming to DC, like even coming to the States where everything is like hustle culture, I really like that it took I like the aspect of slowing down. Once I like got over the hump of like, oh my God, slowing down. But when I realized what God was trying to teach me through slowing down and listening to what's happening around, I was like, you know what? Like, this is kind of this is helping us wake up and giving us the time to smell the flowers. And I think that from that, like, birthed a lot of gratitude. I would say, yes, it was a tragedy. It was a tragedy, and I feel so bad that so many lives were lost, and I wish it could have been prevented. But I think in the same sense, now people who are working 50 hours a week have now options to work from home. I think now instead of us we're looking at different models to access people, so we're not working to live, or you're living to work. And I think that's something that kind of shifted my perspective of how there's different pathways that we can get to getting things done. And I think COVID taught that to us. However, now I feel like we're a little bit more hypersensitive. Like now, remember we used to have potlucks a lot. Now we don't even have, potlucks anymore because of like COVID, the sensitivity around that.
Of course.
I would also say, I think it did give us some time to really slow down, smell the roses, just kind of see what things really matter, and that like we should be focusing on family a lot more, because that's when people were realizing, dang, like we're losing people left and right. What are we doing when we don't have to work, when we're just at home with our families? Like we saw how much they repaired the environment between the ozone layers, cleaner streets, cleaner waters. And that kind of reminded me, I think that's what kind of sparked the Movement Street to be outside of an idea phase, because granted the work had been done. I had been doing the work for the Movement Street since 2014. I just really didn't know how to make it into a full mission yet. I was just kind of doing things. I love to organize. I love to help people. And like during COVID, when people needed help most, how do you bring connection and community into that? And as someone who's always had an analytical mindset, high business acumen, high financial acumen, I wanted to figure out how I could mix social impact, sustainability, and creativity and innovation with a mission to bring people together. And that's when I kind of started doing more research and finding out how volunteering is disappearing in America, and how COVID, it was like during that 2019 to 2021 era, that's when we noticed a steep decline in people showing up in their communities. But when we realized crisis happened, that's when people need to activate the most. And that's when we need to stay active, because that's when we saw things like George Floyd. People are being a part of these movements for a moment because it's a fad, but what happens after the cameras leave? What are you supposed to do? And that's what kind of sparked my idea of like, wow, again, we're grateful, we're being more cognizant, we're slowing down, but how can we make the most out of that and keep it sustainable? And how are we using this to be proactive instead of reactive? And the power really does lie in people, especially as we rise together, and that's what inspired the movement street to really take off.
Okay. I want to say to your point of people kind of shying away from volunteering, especially during COVID. I want to say that during COVID, again, things become more expensive. Jobs are starting to get cut, and I feel like people go into fight or flight mode. And I guess the question I was going to ask you later on, but since you brought it, I want to ask you now, is like, how mentally were you able to be so and still be so devoted to volunteering when volunteering might not be the most lucrative in terms of like actually like attaining finances for yourself? I feel like that's probably why people, I want to say, would sheer away from volunteering, because of course, like out of your own heart, you want to do it, but then it's like, now finances are harder. I need to work. I'm working more, which means I'm more tired, which means, volunteering. You get what I'm saying? Like, how are you able to juggle that and still be so passionate about it?
Yeah. So I think one thing is, I grew up my whole life around adversity. I grew up my entire life around change. So changing to something as drastic as COVID, I feel like I had the skills that I needed. I was really equipped with the tools that I needed to kind of acclimate quickly towards such a big drastic change. Especially like whether that be like mental or physical. Okay. So that was something that really helped, and why it really helped my resilience towards the situation. But as far as like, like how do you provide for yourself like financially when we're thinking, I feel like in the States, we are quick to be like, we're quick to find stability. And yes, everybody, I want to be financially free. Yes, I want to be living comfortably, but sometimes you have to get uncomfortable. Sometimes you have to live in that uncomfortability to meet the next phase. God is preparing you in a phase where you're feeling like, oh, I'm not having enough money, I'm having so much uncertainty, to prepare you to walk into a greater blessing. So sometimes, like, I think one thing that my parents and my faith have instilled in me is that we have to live uncomfortably sometimes. We have to step completely out of our comfort zone, even if that means not knowing what comes next. That's what it truly means to walk by faith and not by sight. And I think a lot of times we'll be like, well, I have faith. Well, I need an answer right now. I don't think, that's not my theory of change, and that's not my philosophy around life, is knowing exactly, like, granted, I feel like sometimes I am a bit of a control freak myself. I do catch myself like that. But sometimes I have to remember that life isn't about figuring out all the answers right then and there. And sometimes, as much as you want to make your finances, like, and you want to reach financial freedom, sometimes you have to wait for that, because what are you going to do when you get that blessing and you don't know how to handle it? Yeah. So I would say for that, I also was working. Like, I have always worked 2 jobs since I was 14, 15 years old. I have been in a lot of different trades, industries, and I was still working while doing TMS, but I was using my different jobs to train me to be better at TMS. I was living in PG County, and I was a manager of lids at the PG Mall. That's where I learned how to embroider, where I learned how to make clothes. And I was figuring out different ways after hours, like, oh, how can I make a TMS hat? How could I embroider on some crew necks? And then I ended up working at a bakery, and y'all, this time I used to burn water. So I was like, I don't know nothing about it. Yeah.
I was burning water.
I was burning water, y'all. Like, it was pretty bad. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Oh, okay.
Don't ask. It was a bad time. It was a bad time.
Okay. I was like, yeah, burning
It was
water.
not my finest moment, but it's okay. We learned.
Okay. Okay.
But even that, I was like asking the owner, I was like, can I use this to host pop-up shops? And I realized that like you can have things work together, like all things come together for good, like all good things come together. And that's something that we should focus on more, not the instant gratification, but the journey. And even if that makes you uncomfortable, and I know that sounds crazy because we do have to pay rent, we do have to get groceries, we have to get gas in our cars, we have to have health insurance. But something like when we have to have all these things, but I think when you realize when the world is coming to a pause, you realize what you have, those issues might not be as big as you think. And I kind of want us to stop living in this line that society has molded us. Oh, you have to walk in this straight line. That's your journey for happiness and success. And realize it might take on different forms. And it might mean waiting a little bit. It might mean pivoting. It might mean helping someone first. And I think that's really what it boiled down to for me.
Okay. Now, talk about the difficulties behind starting something new, just that from the beginning of the creation of it to the technical things that go into it, to the struggles mentally, physically, all of that. Talk about that.
Yeah, that's a great one. Literally, starting something makes you feel like you're crazy.
Yeah.
You're like, nobody's going to listen to this. Nobody's going to like this. Nobody's going to believe in this. And it's really scary putting yourself out there because it's almost like you're scared of being embarrassed or you're scared of being ashamed of your own ideas. And I think that's something that it's really hard to navigate through. Especially like during the time, I feel like during COVID, that's when I saw a lot of people pop up with businesses and like online stores, and being an entrepreneur is a fad now. And that's not the reason I wanted to create the Movement Street. I wanted to build something that lasted, that was something bigger than myself. And so I kind of thought about, well, I had to kind of get from beside myself and realize this is not something for me. This is for something to bring people together. I lost my whole train of thought. Can you repeat the question? Can you repeat the question? It was like, how did I?
Yeah, just like talk about like starting something. Yeah, like the difficulties, the technicalities of it all.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, betting on yourself is really hard. But I remember one thing my mom and dad told me was like, you can't lose when you're betting on yourself. And I did a lot of research. Like, I love to read. And I was reading a lot about nonprofits. And I've always been told that I had an entrepreneurial grit, but I didn't know what that would look like in the future or how I would apply that until my mom gave me this book about nonprofits. And she was like, you should think about this. And I did a lot of reading about it. And I was like, dang, you gotta have a lot of resources. Like, you gotta have connections. I was like, and I feel like I didn't have that at the time. But I was like, I could create it though. And I realized that nobody was going to believe in this mission unless I believed in it myself. And creating something from the ground up is really hard when you are facing anxiety, doubt, and negativity. You have to really channel that into passion, into purpose, and into tangible skills. And because passion alone doesn't get you to run a business. Mm-hmm. You actually have to build the skill set to have a sustainable business. Yeah. So once I realized, like, I'm going to turn myself into an academic and professional weapon to create something that I wholeheartedly believe in, and that I want to use this to create generational wealth. I want to use this to keep my friends and my family closer to me, and this is a way that we can all connect. That's what kind of increased my drive to learn more. And that's why I always say, like, I'm a student of life. Like, I'm always picking up different skill sets, even in my jobs and the trades that I work in. And I think that's something that helped me build something from the ground up. But then I think because I believed in it so heartedly and authentically, I kind of carved out the life I wanted for myself, or the life that I wanted the Movement Street to take. And a lot of people gravitated towards that. A lot of people, when they were like, can I volunteer with the Movement Street, or can I work with the Movement Street, is because they they saw how much love I put into it. And I feel like because I had really great connections with people, and I love people so much. Like, I love all of my relationships that I have, and I go so hard for all of them. Like, it was just my friends always tell me, like, it wasn't, they didn't have to second guess anything. If I said I needed help, they were there. Like, when I'm rocking, they was rolling. So I think like having a village behind me and building something from the ground up was really helpful. And even if you don't have those numbers right away, even if it's just 5 people believing in you, that's all you need. That's all you need. And now, like, it's kind of grown into, like, Kendall finding us, Kendall coming to serve at the Creative Classic. Like, I feel like from, and I feel like from then, like, people will come, like the people will come as long as you're staying true to yourself and true to the mission, and you're still cultivating those relationships by being intentional and genuine. That's how you build something from the ground up. You have to have the faith of a mustard seed, and you have to keep watering that.
Okay. And did you think there was any extra difficulty due to you being a woman and being a Black and Filipino woman?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm so happy you asked me this question. Yes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I feel like, dang, where do I start? It's almost, okay, so it's a lot. It's a lot. Oftentimes, being a woman in business, you're overshadowed, you're overlooked, and it's hard not to take it personal. A lot of people be like, oh, shake it off, dust yourself off, but you're kind of realizing that those negative thoughts in your head aren't your own, that it's because someone told you this, like somebody else's thoughts.
Yeah.
And I had to realize that that's not how I feel about myself. That's how other people see themselves. I've been told that because, actually just recently, I just did a pitch competition, and I was told by a Black woman that I would have placed higher if my looks weren't so distracting. She told me maybe if you wear your hair back and you didn't dress so flashy, granted I had on a professional dress attire, and I know how to dress professionally. Well, I would hope so. I went to Howard.
Yeah.
And she told me, well, maybe if you just wore all black pants and a t-shirt and wore your hair back, people wouldn't have been so distracted by your looks and they would have actually listened to your words. She told me that a lot of times people are not listening to pretty people because they automatically think they're dumb. And I've never thought of myself as some flamboyant, braggadocious woman. I just show up in the spaces as me. I wear my hair natural. This is how I look. And she was like, well, maybe if you change the way you look, maybe people wouldn't question so much, what are you? And that really was personal for me, because if you're telling someone, oh, well, she told me I was too pretty, like, that sounds kind of superficial. And in reality, it's like, I asked her, I said, well, what was something about my pitch that could have been better? She was like, well, no, you're really polished. Like, your presentation was the best. So, and it's again the same thing as like you're working twice as hard for half as much. And because I'm bold, because I'm confident, because I am Black and I know I am beautiful, I'm still being met with roadblocks and things that I cannot change. Like, I'm showing up in a space that makes me feel confident. This is how I feel confident. This is me. This is my essence. And you're telling me to tone that down, to code switch, because others might get distracted by it and not listen to my voice. Well, maybe I'm not in the right room. Maybe the people that I'm speaking to, or the people that are judging me, who are selecting winners, aren't the right judges. And it really kind of hurt me, because it's, as a woman, being well-spoken and being educated, you always are going to have some type of, you're always going to have some type of pushback. And that's why I want to take off all no's off the table. That's why I pursue higher education, to always increase my learning, because I want to be as prepared as I can be to tackle these obstacles in any room that I'm in. Because again, like, you're going to work twice as hard for half as much. Like, as many times as I've been told, oh, this isn't a good idea. Like, oh, you're really trying to promote volunteerism. Like, what? Like, that's a dumb idea. You want people to work for free. Yeah. No, that's another point here.
Yeah.
And I realized that that's why God gave me this vision. It wasn't your vision, it's my vision. And I think also, too, just being talked down to by especially males in the industry that want to try to tell you about business. I'm open to all feedback. I love to learn. I love constructive criticism. But a lot of times it's a lot ego in the way, and you have to, as a Black woman, you have to sift through that noise, because if you're not, it will eat you up. And especially and it sucks because a lot of things will come from other Black women who have experienced this in this space and will tell you what they've heard and try to tell you this as advice, and it's really like kind of pushing you down some more. You can't do that. You have to surround yourself with people who really know you, and you have to, again, like sift through the noise, take what's necessary and leave what's not, and pray on it. But no, I've been asked about fundraising strategies. I've asked about, can you even do finances? I've been asked about, do you even know how to like network in other industries? People don't even know my background. They don't know what I am, or I don't even mention that I'm trilingual, I'm from overseas, that I have these accolades at all. I show up as a representative of the move ministry, and I purely talk about the mission. And a lot of times it's kind of funny when people assume things about you. And that's like the biggest thing, assumption. People see a Black woman or see me and assume things that they already know my life, and that's simply not true. And I think it's kind of funny about it, or it makes it interesting, because it's like, dang, you don't even know all the tools that I have on my belt, and how we could have really actually developed a really good relationship if you didn't have your foot in your mouth.
Yeah. And
I think sometimes it's really good to kind of keep a part of yourself a little bit away from the business and strictly focus on the business, because then you can hear people. You hear people talk about themselves, how their true colors do come out, and you don't want to always put your cards out on the table, because sooner rather than later, they show you who they are, and that's all you need to know, and you can pivot from there.
Yeah.
But that's been really my experience, and it's been a very interesting one.
Okay. Now, I was looking at the website. I saw your team, national team, Michigan team, and then college, correct?
Yeah.
All women, Black women specifically, except for, I want to say, the tech director, right?
Yeah.
Who's a guy. Was that an intentional thing, or it just manifested that way?
Oh, no. We still have advisors, like my cousin Karan.
Okay, yeah.
And then we've had some other male ambassadors as well. I think that like to support. I think it wasn't intentional at all. I think one thing about women, I think strong Black women gravitate to other stronger Black women. And that's why the people who are on our website, where you see they're predominantly Black women, they're the ones that want to be the backbones behind the operations, behind the screen. Behind the screen. And they're the ones that are working day to day to help the move ministry be what it is. And I think a lot of times, also too, like men in the demographic as well, because of like the DMV space, like, as we know, like males in HBCUs and colleges are like diminishing, Black men. So I would love to have more Black men on my team, especially, like, I would love to have that. But right now it's like mostly Black women, because I think they're the ones, they want to be mentored. Like we work together as a mentorship. And I love being a big sister to them too, and a mentor. And I think that was a reason. And just women are committed. Like, they don't mind working hard, and they gravitate towards the mission. So again, it wasn't intentional at all. It's just the way it happened. And I love it, and I don't mind it. But if you're watching this and you are a Black man looking to join a team, an amazing team, please join us.
Okay. Now, have you ever had any worries that, because I feel like another reason why society is so hard on Black women is because strong Black women are intimidating to a lot of people as well, right? And now we're looking at a team that is full of, I want to assume, strong Black women who are committed to a cause. Do you ever think about how that might deter Black men from joining that team, wanting to join that team?
I never thought about it that way. I would hope not. And if they are kind of intimidated, maybe this wasn't a place for them.
Yeah.
I don't think maybe it was a place for them. But if they do feel like, dang, I don't understand. Like, I would want Black men to see our team and be like, I want to make some magic. Like, I want to join this team and work together and realize that we could be a powerhouse together, that they can be a mentor for other Black boys, that they can be a leader and a role model for other individuals out there. Like, I would love to have more diversity on our team as well. if they are intimidated, if anything, that should inspire you more. And like, why are you intimidated? Maybe there's something that we can learn from each other. I always love cross collaboration. So, and having those perspectives are really great. And that's why like the Movement Street, like most of our events are kind of going into to support that demographic that we're not really seeing in the Movement Street. That's why we give men a platform, like at the Creative Classic, to model, to sing, to act, to perform, to do their business. Instead of like women creating those opportunities for them, I want them to join the Movement Street so they can create the opportunities they want to see. And maybe that will break down that barrier so that we can pave a way for there to be more Black men involved and creating powerhouses with Black women.
Okay. Now, I want to quickly pivot to graduation. You said you spoke at your graduation. What was that speech about?
Oh my goodness. It was about, so sorry.
No, you're fine.
My hair keeps getting stuck.
No, it's good. I'd rather you fix it than like it never get fixed. This part of the unscripted part. Yeah. You could just move it even lower. Yeah. So
I think my hair's just a lot.
It's all good. Hopefully it's been standing strong. You know.
Yeah, it's been good. I hope it's not. My hair is not blocking it while I'm chatting. Okay. Graduation. Like, what was my speech about? When I was doing my speech, when I was writing it, I was trying to really reflect on how I came into Howard because I was leaving Howard. So I was like, what was something that I remember coming in? And if you're an HU23 and you came to Acceptance Students Day in 2019, I remember our president at the time, which was President Wayne Frederick.
Yeah.
He was like, look to the left of you, look to the right of you. Half these people are not going to graduate with you. And I remember it being like quiet. It was like, dang, like this is our Acceptance Students Day, and you trying to tell us like some of our classmates aren't going to make it. Like what? And then I remembered that they came out with the whole motto of Howard Forward, and it reminded me like that through adversity with HU23, between COVID, being kind of like that last class that came in before COVID happened and like being brought in by old Howard, it reminded me that we are Howard Forward. And my whole speech was kind of about how we embodied every principle that was put within us to continue forth into that there is no glass ceiling for us because we're rebuilding everything brick by brick. And that I also put in my Nelson Mandela quote that I wasn't allowed to give when I was in high school. And it was that our biggest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our biggest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. And I wanted HU23 to leave with that because literally throughout obstacles, throughout COVID, throughout being told like none of us would make it or half of us wouldn't make it, between coming back and being mentors at that point. We came back as like, you know, we started off as freshmen, we came back as upperclassmen, and now we had to mentor and we had to lead. And HU23 was just trailblazers, like literally between jobs, campus yard runners, the culture, like look at Spring 22 Greek life, that was amazing. Like just reviving the culture and just going forth with everything steadfast. That's what I wanted to remind and leave my class with when I gave a speech. And then I prayed over them. And that was what was my inspiration behind it.
Okay. Now, you leave Howard, UMD.
Yeah.
Two totally different environments going for your MBA. What was that drastic change like? And do you feel like your previous experiences kind of prepped you for this moment to come to UMD? Absolutely.
Okay. I think every previous experience I had prepared me really well for the University of Maryland.
Okay.
So I know I could have went anywhere and I could have went to any school. I loved University of Maryland, UMD, because my parents actually got their degrees through the global campus, through the military.
Okay.
When we were living overseas, like they went to night school while they were working in the military. And I remember that when they helped me move out to Maryland, they didn't realize how close the University of Maryland was here. And they were like, oh, I graduated from there. And as someone who's like technically first gen, like going to an actual college and being the first one in my family to do this, like outside of the military, I kind of wanted to pay homage to them in a way. And I love that UMD had a global footprint. I love that they really supported veterans, and I love that they had a really great relationship with military personnel and dependents, which I am. I love their business program and how much they give to social entrepreneurship and how much they give to social impact. Like their Do Good Institute is top ranked, and they give out so much resources that I believe would help edify my mission with being a leader and an entrepreneur. So that kind of led me to wanting to go to UMD. I did kind of want to stay local for a little bit more because granted, this is the longest I've ever stayed and lived in a place before. And I wanted to stay a little bit longer before I moved again. So I was like, you know what? I kind of want to stay in the DMV. I need just 2 more years. I ended up finding a job here. I am a former educator at DC Prep Academy. I spent 2 years as an educator, which I loved. And I was working full time while taking credit hours, like being a student at night. So I'll be working over 40 hours a week, still going to classes at night, completing my program. And I loved how it gave me the flexibility to still work and go to classes and be in person and have that experience.
Okay. Now, and again, congratulations, since you're about to graduate. What is the purpose behind the MBA now for you? Is it kind of just to solidify the business side of the Movement Street and things going forward?
I think so, yeah. That's what it kind of started off as, like solidifying the business side for the Movement Street. But now it's kind of grown into me wanting to work in like corporate social investment. I really love that. I see myself running the Movement Street and having it be my full-time venture, hopefully within the next 5 years or less if the opportunity presents itself. But I think it really helped me as a woman navigating the world. We need to know business. Business is everywhere. Everything is business. And I'm not just like, I don't just run a business, I am a brand. So I think between like financial literacy, analytical acumen, like all those skill sets are needed to kind of navigate any industry that you want to go in. And I think I didn't see a lot of I wanted to be a representation for younger Black women that wanted to go into this space that you might not see. So that was one of my motivations behind it. And I would also say too, like, I wanted to see just more Black MBAs. Like I didn't really know anybody who had an MBA besides people who are already well off in their careers and like work at a job. And they're like, well, I wanted to get an MBA for promotion. I wanted to get my MBA to take more no's off the table to really highlight my skill set in the field. So
Okay. And then speaking about, or you just said, you know, that you are the brand. I think, well, for me, I know one of the mistakes I made when I first started was that I always separated, like, in terms of Instagram, like my personal account, I was like, I could just do whatever I want on my personal account because my brand account is my brand account. But like you starting something in a way, like you said, you are the brand. What advice would you give to people that are trying to like be able to still be themselves and live their own life and have their own Instagram or whatever in terms of like the way you have to carry yourself and what you should do personality wise and personal wise to help filter and boost your business?
This question is like really tricky for me because I actually have a lot of social media anxiety. Like I hate being perceived. And or like, again, the assumptions that I kind of spoke about a little bit earlier about people assuming that they know you. And that was really hard for me to find balance in between like who I am and like what I want the Movement Street to be and like the brand behind that. I think I really had to figure out how to be as transparent as possible because people want to learn about your journey. People want to hear your story. And I wanted to be able to be a storyteller as a businesswoman, but also like storytelling my life. Like, you know, a lot of people don't know that I grew up overseas and that, like, you know, I'm relatively new to the States. I think for people who are kind of navigating, they don't have to be separate. They don't have to be mutually exclusive either. They can be, I would say, like, try to tell your story as comfortable. Like, you don't have to try to tell your story the best way you know how. You don't have to expose everything. You don't have to throw caution to the wind. Do what feels right to you. And it's easier said than done, and I know it kind of sounds like an easy response to say, but I think leveraging technology and social media right now with your personal and professional brand is kind of difficult, because a lot of times, like LinkedIn per se, we're seeing everybody's accomplishments, but we're not seeing the failures in it. And I think that's one thing that I'm working on, even talking about, is like the setbacks that I've been through and being more transparent about that, because you're actually not alone. There's a lot of other people that have kind of been through those same things. So me even saying, I have social media anxiety, like most of my time, I love to travel, and that's mostly what my personal account is about, is that, and like anything that I do with the movement street, like my speaking engagements, I love to highlight that. And with the movement street, it's more, I feel like it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of really hard to figure out. I feel like I'm still trying to figure it out right now, find my balance between it and what I want that to look like.
Okay. Okay. Now, speaking towards the future, what is next for you? Like, what are some of the things you want to accomplish, short term, long term, just some of the visions that you have for yourself?
Yeah, so I currently do Airbnb with my mom.
Okay.
And I love that. So we bought properties in Flint, Michigan, and I want to continue doing that. Like, I want to continue like buying back the block. And having that be something that me and my family do together. I love doing projects with them. My families are full of creatives, whether they want to admit it or not. I love to keep doing that. I want to continue traveling. I have this dream where I want to take my friends back to Germany so they can see where I grew up and actually put like a face to a name.
Okay.
In the future, I plan on running the movement street full time soon. I love working in any industry that has an international footprint, because I feel like that pays tribute to like how I grew up. So I love working in those type of industries, as long as I can give it, like, I love companies where I can work in communications, storytell, and make and curate people-centered experiences. I plan on making the Creative Classic bigger than the year before, like keep growing the Creative Classic.
You might have to be there. Yeah, what? Oh, wow. You might have to invite me too.
Yeah, no, you have to come. It is an
Bring
experience.
my cameras with me. Okay.
What's next? I don't really know. Like, I feel like a lot of times, ever since I graduated, if you asked me this question in college, like, I always knew what I was doing in college. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. Now, I feel like I'm in this era of my life where I'm really just, like, figuring it out. I'm just trusting the process, trying different things. Like, hey, I've never worked in oil and gas before, but hey, I worked for an oil and gas company last year. Like, I never thought I was going to be a teacher. I was an educator.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just going with whatever's kind of being thrown at me to just get as many new experiences as possible. And then if I can find somewhere, I just really want to continue helping people find a place, buy a house, settle down maybe one day. Okay.
Yeah. Now, I want to give you your own personal time segment to give a message to your mom and dad. So this is where you now do look at the camera.
Oh, my God.
You just however you want to do that.
Oh my gosh. Dang. I don't even know where to start. I'll cry right now.
Do we have tissues?
Mom, Dad, for watching this, I love you so much. I don't think you can really understand how much love I have for you. The life that you have given me has been the most magical one. I love that you put God at the center of my life and you let me come into my faith and let me discover that. Because ever since then, I lead with your love and I lead with the faith that you have let me lean into and let me find. And I'm so grateful that God gave me you as my parents, that you guys helped mold me into a resilient, strong, independent, ambitious woman. You have given me the most perfect life, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all the experiences, and I love that we got to learn so many new things together. I would not have traded a single thing. I love our family so much. I told y'all I'm crying. I love them. I love your support. I love how hard you guys work. You guys were my first my first example of what drive looks like. I've never seen people hustle, plan, strategize more effectively than you guys have. I love everything about you guys. Like, I love the way that you guys love each other. I love your teamwork. I love how you don't let anything stop you and you will find a way. If you can't get in through the front door, you'll find the back. You taught me how to find the windows and even go down the chimneys. And that we don't take no for an answer and we never back down to a challenge. And that we rise above all else. I love that you guys gave me the world, literally the world, growing up. And I'm just so grateful. And I feel like every time someone asks me to give a message to you guys, my love can't even be put into words because of how blessed I am to have you. And I just want you to know that you guys are amazing parents and that with everything that you guys took to be amazing parents, like I love that I got to be that I am your daughter and that God gave me you. And yeah, I want to thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for all your talents that you poured into me. So yeah, I love you guys so much. That was it. You guys made me cry.
You're fine. And shout out to you for the mindset that you have. Again, how you grew up. It usually does not like translate into that type of mindset to be thinking of everybody else, especially where I feel like you've gone through enough adversity to where like you could just grow up solely selfishly thinking about proving yourself to everybody else. So I really want to just give you a big shout out for that and shout out to your parents for that, because I'm sure they had a lot of influence to do with that as well. And just overall, like as a Black woman, as a Filipino woman, being able to stay strong in your identity and not letting other people kind of push you around, especially in a space that is full of vultures, being in business. I think all of those things, it's just a credit to you, a credit to your parents, a credit to how you grew up. And I'm so glad that whoever recommended you to fill that out like that they did, because this has been a great conversation. So I just wanted to give you that big shout out. Oh, we got it all done. Yeah.
I want to thank you so much. If it's still rolling, I want to thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
You guys are an amazing team, and I
you.
really appreciated sharing my story today. So thank you.
Okay. We are all good. Yeah, we're done. We kind of just get up and leave at this point. I think
Come on.
I didn't know if you wanted to like stroll for everybody
Oh
real
gosh,
quickly first.
I'm
No?
not that type of red.
Okay.
I'm a worker red.
Okay.